Okay, welcome back, friends. We're in week 2 of our 21-day Healthy Habits Challenge. And week 2 is where you're going to start to feel the renovation happening. You're going to start to feel the subtle changes of the oils and the supplements going to work on your body. So this is really exciting stuff, okay? So today's topic is meet the supplements. We're going to unpack the supplements that you are taking with a little bit more depth as a part of your 21-day challenge. Now, I know sometimes there can be this belief or even sometimes a resistance around looking at supplements as being boring. Like the belief can be boring or dry, but I think you're going to really enjoy the way I'm presenting the material for you, because it's packed with information that if you have pushed play on this, I bet you, especially if you follow my work, right? I bet you there's a part of you that is interested in truth, really understanding what the body needs, what it doesn't need, what products are actually harmful, because there are a lot of supplements and products out there that are a bit gimmicky, or we see CEOs who lack integrity and they actually care more about profit over people, creating supplements with really fancy marketing taglines because they know, right, that a certain tagline will catch the eye of somebody who has an intention to move towards a more whole health plan. And they may look into or grab that product without actually understanding or informing themselves of what's going on or what's in there. So we're gonna unpack this, and this is really what we're about in DoTERRA, is informing you so that you can make that conscious choice. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Okay, I actually have a sort of a mini PowerPoint, which I don't normally use, but I want to make sure you guys really, that's not the link that I want. Here it is. I want to make sure you guys really understand this, okay? So let's dive in. Okay, so when we're measuring wellness, if you can see the slides, if not, that's totally fine. You can just listen. When we're measuring wellness, just sort of a generic image I like to use because it's actually quite effective, is this wellness pyramid. And so we look at things like eating right, okay, exercise, rest and harmony. Harmony, I would say mind, body, soul, for sure. Reducing synthetic exposure, informed self-care, which is what you're doing today. So you're informing yourself, you're educating yourself so that you can make an informed choice. And then proactive medical care. So that's, okay, if I need to take a drug, right? If I need support from the traditional healthcare model, which we're all super grateful for, if we get into a car accident or we break a bone, or maybe you try to use something natural to fight off an infection, something like a bladder infection, and if it doesn't go away within a day or two, okay, you might have to resort to an antibiotic, right? And we're really grateful that we have those options. But I'm assuming that if you're a part of this challenge or listening to this audio, you're the type of person who likes to go the natural route first, or just at least inform yourself and look at some of those options before going the medical route. But that's how I would sort of identify a whole health plan, okay, is these 6 categories, okay? But that's how I would identify it, okay? So what you want to maybe look at is, how would you rate yourself in all of these areas? When it comes to informed self-care, do you educate yourself? Do you look at videos like this? If you are intuitively drawn to researching something, a health decision when it comes to your children or yourself, do you listen to that nudge? Like, to me, informed self-care is mostly about intuition, which we all have within us. We all have this innate wisdom within us that we're born with, and we're not really taught how to think for ourselves and how to tune into the voice of our higher mind and listen. We are taught how to think. The traditional school system, the just traditional and archaic ways of being, really, if you watch like commercials, or if you go into, how many of you, starts in the fall season, when I go to my local drugstore, all you see is ads for the flu shot everywhere. And it's like, you need this or you're going to die of the flu. And all of that goes into your brain. This is what I mean is people are embedding these beliefs in us. And so we grow up thinking, oh, I need that. But here's the thing. It's like, and I'm not here to talk about the flu shot. I'm just saying, do you really? Or is that something that is so embedded in you on a cellular level because ever since you were 6, you've read that on a poster? Do you see what I'm saying? Right? So informed self-care is really about taking our power back as women, men, moms, families, and coming back home to discernment within us, okay? So how would you rate yourself in that area from 1 to 10? Do you trust yourself? Do you have that connection with your higher mind and your higher truth? When it comes to reducing synthetic exposure in your home, in the last 50 years, we have introduced over 80,000 chemicals, this is fact, into the world. And this is unprecedented stuff with respect to our bodies. And we don't really know how we're handling it. I mean, we're starting to see the effects. I mean, even just look at the rise in what's happening with children today. Okay. And this is not to cast any judgment or shame or anything. I feel like we've become so sensitive as a culture that even having this discussion, it's like, oh, you can't say that, or you're shaming a mother whose child has ADHD. And I'm like, hold on a second. I'm not shaming nobody. I'm like, let's talk about this, friends. If we want to unpack this, we got to talk about it. So if you look at the rise in, I think in the States, it's like what, I don't know, 1 in 30, they're saying it's getting close to, or 1 in 50 or 6, like, I don't know, the rates are different. You can look it up on the CDC's website, but, the actual data in terms of children with autism, children with ADHD, learning disabilities, things like that. And some of the most recent research is showing how, you look at the brains of children with autism, they're finding aluminum in the brains. If you look at the gut health of children with autism, it's like the gut health has been compromised. Okay. And so now more than ever, I think we actually have to put our sensitivities aside, and be able to take deep breaths and have these conversations and say, what's going on? So, and not just for our children, but obviously reducing synthetic exposure for ourselves, right? Rest and harmony, how would you rate yourself there? 1 out of 10. Taking time away from your cell phone, taking time away to recharge, and then exercise, moving your body in a way that feels good. Okay. And obviously eating right, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. And we're going to unpack today the supplements. So supplements would fall into that category in terms of this 21-day challenge. Okay. So next slide. I just mentioned this. I'm titling this slide, Dropping the Scales from Our Eyes, right? In the last 50 years, we've added 80,000 new chemicals into the environment. This is unprecedented to our bodies and our biology, not to mention, all the pesticides and the genetically modified foods and things like that. I found a great article by Joe Robinson from the New York Times, and this was published a few years ago, but it kind of every now and then gets recirculated on social channels because of its depth. And I wanted to share this quote with you from this article, okay? Because it kind of highlights what I want to talk about here in terms of food and supplements. So this is quoted from the article, we have been stripping phytonutrients from our diet since we stopped foraging for wild plants some 10,000 years ago. Researchers have compared the phytonutrient content of wild plants with the produce in our supermarkets, and the results are startling. Wild dandelions, once a springtime treat for Native Americans, have 7 times more phytonutrients than spinach, which we consider a superfood. So true, right? A purple a purple potato native to Peru has 28 times more cancer fighting, I'm totally going to mess up this word, anthocyanins. Okay, feel free to correct me in the comments. I can take it. Than common russet potatoes. One species of apple has a staggering 100 times more phytonutrients than the Golden Delicious displayed in our supermarkets. Okay, so another thing to note from this article is they talked about how these wild plants found out in nature that are higher in these phytonutrients, which our body needs, they're typically bitter or they taste kind of funny, not like these sweet apples that you find in the supermarket. And so this is so true, right? Oftentimes we, or our farming practices today, you know, it's all about how can we, you know, make the best tasting apple for the consumer, but we're losing these basic principles of nature. I remember when I was pregnant with my first daughter, Vera, a few years ago, I would drive about 20 minutes north of me to this biodynamic farm. And a biodynamic farm it's a higher quality than organic. There's lots of information online. You can look this up, but they won't grow certain foods that other farms will grow in Canada, because you can kind of force it, right? It's like a child's sleep. Like you can force it, or you can like work with nature and kind of meet the child by developing rhythms that best support the child and really seeing that. And so they only had, you know, spinach at certain times of the year, whereas other farms around the corner from me had it all the time. And I said to them, like, why don't you have spinach right now? And they said, well, it's not even worth it. Like this article's talking about the nutrient quality. It's just not even worth it. I thought interesting. And so biodynamic farming principles are very high. And it's very similar to doTERRA's sourcing principles with respect to their oils. So if you want the link to this article, by the way, I'm going to post the link for these slides in the 21-day health habits challenge. And if you're watching this as an audio on YouTube or on my podcast, just check the show notes or check the comments below and I'll link all this up for you guys. Okay. So next slide here talks about doTERRA's Source to You website. I just want to cover off for those of you new to the oils and the supplements, where you can go to practice informed self-care and really educate yourself. So if you go to www.sourcetoyou.com, the link is in the slides, okay? Basically, you can take the lot number that's on the bottom of your doTERRA essential oil bottle, and you can click on quality reports there. You see it on the slide, and you can enter in that lot number, and it's going to bring up the chemical profile of the oil. So this is going to tell you, now you might be thinking, well, I'm not a scientist, and I totally get it. But if you bring this to an aromatherapist, they will break it down for you and they will be able to highlight the truth surrounding the doTERRA oils, which is they are 100% pure and potent, and they come from the parts of the earth where they grow best in their wild, natural habitat, just like that article talked about with the food. Okay. So for example, their vetiver comes from Haiti. Okay, this is where vetiver is actually a root that you have to dig out of the ground. You dig it literally right out of the earth. And so they will only get it from Haiti because that's the climate in Haiti. The soil at this particular farm has not been interrupted with pesticides and things like that. Sometimes organic farms, you know, or a newly organic farm, it can take some time for the soil to kind of come back home to its greatest potential, because if it's been sprayed for so many years with pesticides, it has to recover from that, right? So doTERRA works on the ground all across the world with local families and farmers who have been preserving the land for years and years and years and years. Okay, so this website tells the truth around that. I'm not going to go too much more into it, but since we're talking about supplements today, a lot of the oils found in the supplements, right? A lot of the oils are found in the supplements, and I thought you would maybe want to know about that. So the next slide as well, if you pull up the slides, also has a video you can play. If you go to the doTERRA YouTube channel, you can find videos on how they source wintergreen from Nepal and, jasmine from India and all sorts of beautiful videos. And this is what helped me build trust with the company. When you go to the gas station and you see like the CEO of the gas station has now decided to put essential oils right at the checkout, or you walk into a hardware store or whatnot, same deal. It's like, well, most of those products are adulterated essential oils, meaning something has been added. Something has been added, which totally defeats the purpose of using nature to support ourselves. And it's because these CEOs, if we really want to drop the scales from our eyes and unpack the truth, these CEOs, they want to make a quick buck. They want your money in their pockets so they can go chill on a golf course somewhere and talk about the NBA finals and the type of grade of steak they're having for dinner. And like, they really don't care about you, because if they did, they wouldn't be putting this crap on the store shelf with a really pretty marketing tagline, like 100% pure. And this obviously isn't just with essential oils. This is with everything. This is with supplements. This is with everything. Okay. But I obviously like to use this example when I'm talking about doTERRA. So for me, when I was practicing informed choice, I got it right away. Like I got it right away. So there's some videos there you can check out. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about bioavailability. Then we'll get into the supplements, and then you'll be off on week 2 of your challenge. Okay. So we hear the term a lot, you are what you eat. And I just want to bring some truth to this. You are what you absorb. Okay. Have you ever had a salad and like your tummy starts grumbling? Like you're eating pure gluten-free, sugar-free, amazing food, but it's like you get kind of like those sharp pains, like your body's having a hard time breaking down the nutrients, absorbing it, okay? So we're not what we eat, we are what we absorb. And bioavailability is essentially how our body can take it in, absorb it, the nutrients, whether it's in supplement form or an essential oil that's hitting our cell or food, or herbs or whatever, and use it to support us. I'm not a scientist, guys. Like, I'm a mom, right? I'm a mom of 2, and I'm an entrepreneur. Science is actually it's not my gift. And so what I've tried to do with this webinar is break this down in simple terms, because that's how I like it, right? So that anybody can understand. I'm the type of person who my intuition tells me everything I need to know first. Then when I see the science that backs it up, I'm like, oh yeah. So anyways, let's keep going. Like, I'm going to keep this Cole's notes really simple. Let's talk a little bit about antioxidants and oxidation. So the picture on the right, if you're seeing the slides, is an avocado. And an avocado, when it starts to oxidize, it turns brown. Same thing with an apple. So that's like the cells, think of it, in the avocado that are starting to oxidize, okay? So with disease and aging, our cells can become toxic. They can oxidize. If we have pollution from the environment, excess toxins and chemicals like we talked about at the start, all of these things, the air quality in our home, it contributes to the oxidization of our cells. And so what is the number one thing that helps reverse that oxidation process? It's antioxidants. So we hear about blueberries, okay? And raspberries and some of these bright fruits that are high in antioxidants. So the scale that they use in medicine, and by the way, this information I'm sharing right now, I always like to source where I get it from. Dr. Josie Schmidt is a naturopath, and she's a diamond leader in doTERRA, and I learned this from her. And I'm going to share a great link to watch a webinar of hers at the end. I'm going to see if she'll pop on my podcast, actually. If you guys want to hear more of her, let me know. But I learned this from her, okay? So a scale they use in medicine to measure antioxidants is called the ORAC scale, ORAC. And basically that scale measures, okay, if you're taking in blueberries or carrots or beets, right? Other foods high in antioxidants. How many oxidation reactions are going to happen in the body? And that's what measures the result that you get on this ORAC scale. So blueberries, for example, like a cup of blueberries are around 2,000 to 3,000 on the ORAC scale. Pure and properly sourced, unadulterated essential oils, right, which is doTERRA, is 100,000 to 1.5 million on the ORAC scale. So clove is actually the highest essential oil that's ever been measured on the ORAC scale, and 1 drop of clove, and this is in your On Guard, you guys, you're taking your On Guard every day as a part of this challenge. 1 drop of clove has the antioxidant equivalent of eating 2 pints of blueberries or 2 cups of freshly squeezed beet juice. 1 drop of clove. So by you diffusing your On Guard into the air every day, I think it's part of the 21-day health challenge. It says on there every afternoon, right? To diffuse On Guard or to apply it to your spine or to your feet, topically to your body. What is happening? Clove is one of the ingredients in the On Guard. It's going to work. The essential oils hit the cell. It's like the life force energy for the cell. And it's helping with this oxidation reaction process, okay, to help heal, cleanse, detoxify the cell. So results of oxidative stress. You know, many of you started this challenge. Let's talk about this. Results of oxidative stress, because you maybe have some discomfort or less energy or that 3 p.m. crash, okay? That was me after I had my first baby. All of a sudden I was getting the 3 p.m. crash. I was feeling just some stress and some tension after my pregnancy. And I felt the need to like really ramp up my self-care routine and just reduce some inflammation in my body. And so I got on this plan, the 21-day health habits plan, among other things. But this was a big part for me. Okay. Obviously weakened immunity. If you're sick all the time, that's another sign of oxidative stress. Mood and emotions is another sign. Okay. So recap, this 21-day health challenge, really, what is it addressing? Immunity. So remember the On Guard, the clove, the supplements, it's this whole health plan. It's going to support your immune system. When your cells are happy, your immune system, everything works as a whole in the body. When your cells are happy, your immune system is better able to do its job, right? This is why, like when I practice informed choice today and I look at kind of what they're prescribing for our children's health, all they're doing is constantly stressing out our kids, stressing them out with a pill for this, an extra injection for this. And they're just stressing them out, and the kids' bodies can't actually do what it's designed to do. We just interrupt the beauty and the grace of what the body was designed to do. My kids never get sick. And it's so funny today because sometimes I hear moms in conversation, say things like, oh, my kid's always sick, but it's okay. Like they're building a strong immune system. And when I hear that, I go, ooh, and again, we have to just take a deep breath, drop our sensitivity, I think, and really just look at, is there truth to that statement? Is there truth to the statement, my children are always sick, so it's actually helping them grow a strong immune system? I'll tell you right now, that is false. It's false, right? The body was designed to heal itself. And when we can honor that whole entity for what it is and give it some additional tools, it's gonna function very effectively, mind, body, soul. Okay. And so we have to unravel and ungrip from some of that false information to really not only support ourselves, but I think a lot of you in this 21-day challenge are moms. And so you're wanting to model that for your kids too, right? But I always like to bring in this discussion because I think it's a powerful one. So anyways, just to recap, what is the 21-day health challenge addressing? Immunity, oxidative stress, reducing toxic load, eating well, supplementation, remember absorption and bioavailability and energy. Okay. So here we go. Let's talk about the Lifelong Vitality Pack and TerraZyme. So the Lifelong Vitality Pack from doTERRA, it's a trio. There are 3 supplements. There are no supplements like this on the market. It's very innovative. You're probably going to see some copycat, brands coming out in years to come, like attempting to duplicate this. So you have your whole food vitamin. That is the Microplex VMZ. You have your cellular vitality blend, that's the alpha CRS, and then you have the E omega, that's your fish oil. So I'm going to break down all 3, and again, in a really simple way, guys, so you understand. If you want more science and depth, I'm gonna include a link at the end of this so that you can watch a friend of mine, Dr. Josie, the naturopath there, who goes even into more depth, okay? But I know some of you guys are like me and you're like, give me the simple goods. So Microplex VMZ, key benefits, 21 vitamins and minerals, okay? And it is bioavailable. So it's a real food ingredient, okay? It's powdered. It's not hard compressed. So it's easily and quickly digested versus some of the hard synthetic compressed vitamins that our body sometimes can't recognize, okay? It's non-GMO, gluten-free, okay? It also includes a tummy tamer digestive blend. So this is where, again, it's very innovative. Some of the essential oils are actually in here. So it has peppermint, ginger, and caraway. This is going to help with digestion, all right? What else do I want to say about this? I have some notes here. Oh, I want to talk about, it includes a whole food blend of kale, dandelion. Remember we talked about this at the opening. There's actually some dandelion in here, so those phytonutrients, parsley, kelp, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and spinach, okay? There's also an additional digestive enzyme blend within this, all right? What else do I want to say? You're going to find if you break this down, essentially what this is doing is it's filling in the gaps. So we can no longer say I'm getting everything I need from food, especially because our food is depleted and it's missing a lot of those phytonutrients and antioxidants. So this is going to fill in the gaps. It's got the dandelion in there. It's got the spinach. It's got the broccoli. How many of you can say you put like broccoli into your smoothie every day or on your plate every day, right? It supports the energy metabolism of the body and the production. It's going to support the immune system, cognitive function, and the digestion. So it's very supportive to the whole system. Sort of a more advanced topic on this, and again, this isn't really my strength. This is why I'm going to link up Dr. Josie's video at the end here, but I wanted to talk about it for the moms and the families who are like, okay, give me a little bit more here. Sometimes vitamins and minerals are isolated or synthetically constructed, and again, this can be more difficult for our bodies to recognize and absorb it as a food nutrient because our bodies are designed to recognize food, right? So if it's synthetic, the body's like, what is this? Just like synthetic harmful toxins or chemicals. It's like, what is this? And it has to work harder, which leads to us being more stressed out and tired at the end of the day when it has to work harder, right? So the vitamins in the Microplex VMZ are presented in what doTERRA calls a patented glycoprotein matrix. Stay with me. Which helps promote bioavailability. So to make this, essentially a vitamin is introduced to a culture of yeast. And then as it grows, the yeast metabolizes and binds the vitamin into this little matrix so that it makes the vitamin more recognizable as food in the digestive process. It's all about, the formulation of this is all about supporting the body and recognizing it as whole, right? So that it can quickly grab onto it, do what it needs to do, feed our cells, and then it's done. And it's not using excess energy to do that because it's not unrecognizable, right? So we're not left feeling stressed out later on. Sometimes people are putting crap on their bodies that they think is helpful and it's actually harmful, okay? So let's move on. So there's your whole food multivitamin. Then we have the alpha CRS. So this is the second one, okay? This one is really interesting. This one is where we bring in the conversation of the antioxidants. Okay. So remember we talked about oxidative stress, antioxidants, the ORAC scale. We talked about ridding the body of free radicals, right? From, air quality, pollution, synthetic exposure, toxins. Okay. So this guy is it's like the renovation for your cells. This has herbs and oils and antioxidants that are going to go to work on your cells. Things like grapeseed extract, pomegranate, green tea, turmeric, okay? Pine bark extract. Lots of information coming out on that. Curcumin, which is a key ingredient in turmeric. And then herbs. There's lots of herbs that help with energy and the nervous system. Our nervous systems are stressed today. I was not consistent in taking supplements after the birth of my first child, and I felt it. After about a year, I thought to myself, okay, I've heard recovering from birth is like a tough thing. It takes time, but I just intuitively knew I could be doing more. And I wasn't taking these supplements daily. I was using my doTERRA oils. I ordered the oils regularly, but to be this, I was like, you know. And so with the birth of my second child, I'm now 4 months postpartum. I feel the best I ever have in my life. And I sometimes I feel weird sharing that because I don't want people to feel like guilty or like, what am I doing wrong? But if I don't tell you guys that I'm doing you a disservice, I take the Alpha CRS every day, 2 in the morning, 2 at night, along with the other products we're talking about today. But I notice a difference when I don't take it, which is really interesting. Okay. I really, really looked at how can I support my nervous system as a new mom, because as a new mom, you go into fight or flight. And every time you have an additional child, the same experience happens. You go into fight or flight. It's like, oh my gosh, now I gotta go. I remember breastfeeding my newborn, and my toddler decided to start potty training at the same time. She wanted to all of a sudden go on the potty. I was like, oh gosh. So I was on the floor, like wiping a bum, breastfeeding the other one, going to make dinner. It's like, I could feel my body going into that fight or flight stress. Like, I gotta do this. And then you learn and you adapt and you ground. But I wanted to look at in those moments of transition. So you can relate to this conversation even if you're not a mom. It's like maybe you're starting a new job or you're starting a new business and there's a lot of fear coming up. There's fear sitting on your cells or whatever it is. This is so powerful. This supplement, you guys, okay? So it's also going to protect the body from oxidation, and synergistically, the power of this guy with the whole food multivitamin and the fish oil, which I'm about to talk about, they work really well synergistically together. Okay. So here we go. Next one. Like I just mentioned, the E omega. So this is your fish oil. I mean, I don't think I need to talk too much about this one. Everybody knows today we need healthy dose of fish oil. Okay. With the doTERRA, it's a blend of sustainably sourced marine and land sourced fish, so things like seeds and nuts. So it's not just when it comes to the fish too, by the way, it's small fish, so it's sardines. There's also some flax and borage oil in there. If you want a vegan version, doTERRA has they have a vegan version of the LLV. It's tested for over 250 toxins. Okay. And it's also formulated with essential oils, right? Clove is in here, frankincense, thyme, cumin, wild orange, peppermint, ginger, caraway, and German chamomile. So the oils in this also function as a natural preservative system so that the omega-3 acids and the vitamins don't go rancid or oxidize, because we don't want that. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say on that. No, I'm going to keep it simple. Okay. Last supplement here. Oh, just a quick slide on the dose. So it says here, if you are a smaller built human under 120 pounds, you're going to take one of each, 1 Alpha CRS, 1 E Omega, 1 Microplex VMZ at dinner and breakfast. If you are greater than 120 pounds, the full dose is 2. 2 in the morning, 2 at night. All right, Terrazyme, last thing. This is your digestive enzyme. Remember I talked about the salad when you're taking in like a big salad, you ever get those sharp pains, your tummy's struggling to digest. This is going to help the digestive absorption process. Really simple. Okay, the metabolism of these enzyme deficient processed foods that you may be eating sometimes as well. It also supports the conversion of the food nutrients to that cellular energy, and it promotes that comfort in the digestive tract. That's the biggest thing it's done for me. I notice sometimes if I'm eating raw food, my body has a hard time breaking it down. I take 1, sometimes 2 of these, very helpful. If you have a toddler or older, and they struggle with digestive stuff, crack open one of these, sprinkle it on their food. It's amazing. Let's say you're working through allergy issues with your kids. Like maybe they have a food intolerance, and while you're eliminating certain things or trying to work that out because you want to get to the root cause, the digestive enzyme is fantastic in the meantime to provide some support, sprinkle it on their food. Okay. I also just wanted to mention doTERRA also has a kids fish oil, the IQ Mega. All right. Now, quick story. When, speaking about like what's happening with kids today and this rise in, ADHD and autism and learning disabilities. And I think it's important that we speak about that and can have these emotionally stable conversations about that. But at the same time, I'm also very aware that we can what's the term I want to use? I believe if we drop the scales from our eyes and we really look at what's happening as a society, sometimes we can over label, maybe is the word, or look like we're all about how can we fix, or we see one little problem and we want to label it as bad or wrong instead of like letting children develop at the pace they're meant to develop. You see what I'm saying? So everybody talks today about, like, for example, speech delays in kids, right? And so I was talking with my naturopath, Dr. Carissa Doherty. She's fantastic. You can look her up, the Natural Care Clinic in Burlington, if you live in my area, in the Greater Toronto area. And she was telling me that, so many kids today who are kind of labeled with speech delays, she's like, they just don't have enough healthy fats motoring up the brain, because the brain it connects to the speech pathways. So the healthy fat acts like a lubricant to the brain, and then that signals the child to start speaking. If there's think about if you don't have any oil in your car. When you go to get an oil change, the oil lubes you up, lubes up the car, and everything flows smoothly. What happens when you don't get an oil change, right? Same thing. So she says, because she works her clinic, her naturopathic clinic, supports children with ADHD or autism or certain things. And one of the things she's discovered, she's very science-based, but she's also a very wise, intuitive woman. And she practices discernment like a boss, okay? So one of the things she's really looked at is healthy fats. And so when I was in my second pregnancy, again, you know better, do better, I started taking way more healthy fats, like cod liver oil every day, my doTERRA fish oil. What else was I taking? Choline. I was taking so many healthy fats. And so we'll see. My second child is, she's only 3 months old at this time, but it'll be interesting to see the difference, because I didn't take that much fat when I was pregnant with my first. And so, but we give her this. And so just a little extra wisdom for you there, okay? The formulation of the doTERRA Kids Omega is fantastic. It's fantastic, okay? Of course, if you have any questions about all of this, bring it into your healthcare practitioners or natural healthcare practitioners. And that's it for me today. So I'm gonna pop in probably by the end of this week with a little giveaway in our group. Any questions that you guys have, post in the group, and we'll talk soon. Okay, thanks guys.